It's going to save the earth in the long run. Like, if I can teach you how to clean up the soil around you and utilize the bacteria and fungi in the area and the plants you grow to do the same, and then also to be able to utilize those same plants in your own system for food, you're killing multiple birds with one stone, learning how to become a soil farmer and not a tomato farmer, not a fucking a chili pepper farmer, not a corn farmer, but someone that knows how to till the earth. If I teach you that, you can go anywhere and grow any form of food there. It doesn't have to be the one you brought. You can find something in nature and grow that. There's no specific recipe that I have to remember to give anything. As long as I can make an active carbon-based soil that has enough calcium to support what I'm after, I'm going to succeed. Otherwise, like I said, I don't need to have all these meters. I don't need to have temperature. I don't have to have a water heater or chiller to keep stuff at a specific. There's so many things in a hydro system that if the power's out, I can't use it. I'm not going to be able to run that shit with by running tubes from the creek over to my system and making sure it works. Like nature, there's a reason nature uses soil mostly to grow shit. There are aquaponic systems out there. The ocean is being one. There's a lot of things alive in there. We're just not growing none of the things that survive and thrive in water that much. So
I think it's really a matter of, the water has a limited supply. The plants and animals would have consumed it. The point isn't that the nutrients aren't in the water, they can't regenerate. The point is you're putting it in a closed environment and it's using up that, and then you're having to replace the water. The water's there all the time. But I also wanted to bring up Smiley's comment here. Rhizophagy cycle shows the plant is trying to grow the bacteria for food, and that's really the plant's trying to grow its own food source. That's why Terra Preta in Brazil, they can harvest so much every year, and as long as they don't over harvest, it actually will grow itself back because it's producing its own lignin. It's producing, what it needs to survive and thrive in that environment. And that's really what we're trying to get with a living soil. And that's why latent systems is working so well, is the components are there for it to get to the point where it does produce the lignin for itself and for the plants that we put into it. It's just a matter of taking some time and allowing the system to grow and develop to get to that point.
And I'm super intrigued with Super Nessa's system using STAPs to feed the plant, because usually in a hydro system, you're using a highly synthesized processed salt. And there's the other problem with hydro, how those were produced using chemicals, like using you basically using oil as the basis to make those things, makes them way dirtier than we need them to be. When the plant, like you just said, the plant's making its own food. That's why the leaves fall and get devoured by the system and return back to the earth, so that the next year nobody has to add more fertilizer to the forest. The forest feeds itself until the human comes along and decides he's going to do what he wants to it and kills it. If you go to the Amazon, there's nobody taking care of the Amazon. It does it itself until we show up, and then it starts to die. It knows what it needs and how much of it needs. Just like if you go and see a field and there's a meadow in the field, and every year there's different wildflowers that pop up. Some years you'll see a whole bunch of daisies pop up, or you'll see a whole bunch of dandelions, right? So when you see a bunch of dandelions pop up, that system is trying to reintroduce more calcium into the soil structure. That's why it produced more of that plant that year. No one went out there and did it on purpose. The seeds were available and almost the same amount every year, but this year they exploded. And some years, each plant that has a different nutrient density will do that, so that system can take what it needs from it. When we have to force that through in a water system, it works great on a personal level. But if we have to feed humanity with that, we're allowing other humans to basically die from dirty water when we're giving plants copious amounts of clean water. It's just a bad thing in my heart. I'd rather give a kid a cup of water than a plant a fresh one. Going through all that process, the plant will drink the dirtiest water you can give it. We got it all backwards. When a kid in Michigan can't get a cup of clean water, but this fucking neighbor's growing in a hydro setup with fucking pristine reversed osmosis water, we're looking at shit the wrong way. They work. They're not the better option.
Yeah. Well, and Super Nessa is pointing out he's trying to create a system where he can take what's good in the sap and take it out of the water to return the water and then just add it as I think a more of a powdered amendment. But Ghetto Happy is going polysaccharides in the sap, mineral content in the sap. It's all there because it's the plant itself that's bringing that up in the tree to feed itself.
It's how it's bringing nutrients up. Yeah, it has. It's just, the only thing it isn't is the source in the sink, but it's the piping carrying all that carbon in the system. So using it, I understand how it can be used as a fertilizer. Using it in a hydro system is where I don't understand. Like how not that I don't understand it. I've never seen it. Is all I can say. But it intrigues me to do that because now you're using an organic based product in a system that was never thought to be able to utilize it well. That's an awesome thing. That's why I say, but it still comes down to on a massive level, we're wasting way too much water to grow that way. We could use those same saps in a soil system. That's how plants grow. There's a reason plants are making exudates. There's a reason it has a phloem and xylem system. It's to move the fluids around the plant to every part of the plant. It is what carries the water, the nutrients. It's what helps transpiration and move gases in the plant. Literally, that would be a killer fertilizer. More people should be utilized. I feel. I mean, we do when we use plant inputs. The sap's in the tissue. When I go take a fruit, it's filled with the sugars inside's the sap from the plant. And so we're doing that as an organic farmer. On the synthetic side, most are never doing that. So that's why it intrigues me with the system you do have, Super Nice. It makes a system that I feel shouldn't be utilized very often. The one that if you are utilizing, this would be the better way to do it, what you're talking about.
Now, as for the strength of it, Super Nessa, I think that would be, once you had an understanding of, don't be a moron and, have a specific formula to add it in and not that huge quantity where it's going to burn the plant. But that's something that you're researching, brother. So have fun. We're